At Citi Field in New York, the New York Mets play the Chicago Cubs. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Budweiser. Still brewed the hard way, this Bud's for you. By Astoria Bank. At Astoria Bank, the difference is wanting to make a difference. Visit AstoriaBank.com. By Bob's Discount Furniture. Shop for untouchable values at the touch of a button at MyBobs.com. By Geico, the #1 insurer in the New York market. And by Tri Honda, hurry to your local Tri Honda dealer for great deals on the 2015 models. Weekday day baseball. Not an impediment anymore because you know what? School's out. It's summertime. Perfect time for the kids to make their way to the ballparks from summer camp and otherwise as the Mets look to get it going in Citi Field. And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. Gary Cohen, Ron Darling with you today as the Mets play the finale of their homestand, finishing up a series with the Cubs. Mets have yet to score a run in this series. The fact that the Mets offense is struggling is no secret. Hitting plays a big role, but sometimes it's not just the hitting that is necessary to score runs.
You know, when your team's struggling, Gary, you got to do all the little things, and some good things happened in yesterday's game that they weren't able to go forward with because they didn't do the little things. Situational hitting. John Mayberry Jr. against the left-hander Lester, great lead-off double. But then Flores with a chance to move him over, strikes out. And then here, with Herrera holding Mayberry close, he does not read this hit by Milwaukee very well. And when you're not getting a lot of hits, you can't go base to base away for the 3-run home run. And then later in the game, Lagares leads off with a double to left center field. He's now on second base, and you have Colon up. What's he trying to do? Instead of bunt the ball to Lester, he's trying to swing the bat. That should never happen. And those 2 innings went by the wayside because the Mets didn't do the little things. Right now, when you struggle, you cannot miss the little opportunities you have to move people forward.
And later in that game, a missed suicide squeeze bunt by Daryl Siciliani in the 8th inning also took the Mets out of a scoring chance. Well, today, the pitching matchup couldn't be better. It's the 2 Jakes, and they have both been going great guns. Jacob deGrom has been just superb.
You know what's great about deGrom is that it was that start in Chicago when he gave up a couple of home runs that he tweaked a couple of things in the bullpen, and since then, in 8 starts, he has been unbelievable. He's only given up 1 home run, is 5-1. And going against his counterpart, Jake Arrieta, 15 starts himself, 7 of them he's given up a run or fewer. He has been outstanding. This is the kind of game, I'm telling you, you might look at both guys taking a no-no deep. That's how good they are and how hard the offense is struggling.
Both pitchers trying to burnish their credentials for the All-Star game. Roster is announced next week. It's the Mets and Cubs. All the action coming your way today on SNY. Today's State Farm agent of the game is Pat Cauley of Glendale, who's in the house today. Contact Pat at patcauley.com. And by Mazda, driving matters. Get to Citi Field Saturday, July 11th. The Mets take on the Diamondbacks at 4:10 p.m. The first 15,000 fans in attendance will receive a Juan Lagares bobblehead, courtesy of Geico. For tickets, visit Mets.com/tickets. Time for the Coldwell Banker home field advantage. And who's been better at Citi Field than Jacob deGrom? 18 starts in his career, a 1.54 ERA in the Mets home ballpark. And tries to keep that roll going today after 4 of his last 5 starts have come on the road. But he's back home today trying to get the Mets a much-needed win. First pitch coming right up. Last Thursday in Milwaukee. He's the Mets' Thursday afternoon guy in this 6-man rotation. Starlin Castro going to lead off for the Cubs today. First time he's done that this season. In fact, here's the entire Cubs starting lineup. A little different look for Joe Madden. He's going to rest Chris Bryant. And so Jonathan Herrera plays third base. He moves Miguel Montero up to third in the batting order. First time he's done that this year. Mike Baxter gets a second straight start as well against Mr. deGrom, who has been all-star worthy.
Well, you see his Jeep numbers on the season, outstanding. In his first 7 starts as a Met, he was 0-4 with a 4.39. His last 30 starts since then, 17-7 with a 2.07.
And that's since June 21st of last year. He's got the best ERA in the major league.
Here's Alexis defense. Campbell in left, Siciliani in center, Granderson always in right field, Murphy, Tejada, Flores, and Duda round out the infield, and Johnny Winnell gets the catch behind the plate.
Starlin Castro 2 for 7 in this series. Not the first time in his career he's led off, but the first time this year. deGrom starts him with a strike, and we're underway. In fact, it's the 115th time in his career that Castro's led off. Dexter Fowler has been leading off most days. He's got the day off today. And Castro pops one up. Flores with the angle makes the call, but it's Duda who makes the catch. little miscommunication there. It's a ball the second baseman usually catches, but Duda's taller and has the bigger glove.
Yeah, he dropped a little size on him here. Because Wilmer was yelling, I got it, I got it. Duda's like, whatever, I got it. Sit down.
Yeah, well. I mean, Wilmer's a big guy, but few measure up to Mr. Growth Chart.
He's like a tree.
So 1 out and nobody on. Here's Anthony Rizzo, 1 for 9 in this series. His batting average has dropped below 300, and he yanks the first pitch fastball foul. Well, the Cubs have not done much scoring lately, just 10 runs in their last 8 games, but they've won 3 of those games. 1-0, 1-0, 2-0. Rizzo hooks one foul, and it's 0-2. So while the Mets have been somewhat dysfunctional offensively, the Cubs are right behind them. They got a couple of runs in the 11th inning yesterday, and Joe Madden somehow has 2 wins in this series, despite the Cubs scoring 3 runs in 20 innings. Late swing foul.
Rizzo was a big part of that. See the central standings.
Cubs sitting in that second wild card spot right now behind the Pirates. 9.5 games behind the Cardinals, who got blown out last night by the White Sox. A rare loss for St. Louis. And tight. Rizzo has been hit by more pitches than anybody in the major leagues this year. Nearly got hit by another.
Well, you'd love to see that as Montero's on deck for Mets pitchers. You have a chance, back those guys, move their feet off the plate. Not trying to hit them, just move them off the plate.
DeGrom ahead 1-2, and a weak cut at a slider, and Rizzo hangs in there. Rizzo 38 walks this year and 40 strikeouts. You don't see too many hitters these days with that kind of a ratio.
Young hitters, right? Who seem not to care about the strikeout.
Well, especially guys who can hit the ball to the ballpark like Rizzo can. It's this 1-on-1 hop to Flores, and Wilmer makes the play for the second out. So 2 out and nobody on.
Rizzo was a big part of that inning last night in the 11th. The double steal with the ninja slide, I heard it referred to.
Now you see it. Now you don't. Well, the only way to counteract that slide is to keep the tag down. And that's what Murphy didn't do. And Rizzo was able to steal the base. It's just a number of those little things the Mets did not do well last night. And when you're not scoring a lot of runs, those things tend to show up larger.
A double play not turned there in the 11th. You know, it's a routine play that's got to be made at this level.
Miguel Montero hitting third in the order. His first start in this series came off the bench last night, went 1 for 3 and drove in a run in that 11th inning. And DeGrom goes away with a changeup, 1-1.
The great thing about baseball is, though, Gary, it's a new day. You know, new start.
And with this guy on the mound, Mets have every reason for confidence. 1-1. And Montero fouls it off. Ronnie mentioned DeGrom's start in Chicago. That was back on the 11th of May. He gave up 4 runs in 5 innings, walked 4 batters that game. Since then, he's been almost untouchable. Revamped his mechanics, and 8 starts since as a 1.23 ERA. Coors Light Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light, and there are those numbers the last 8 starts. His walks have disappeared.
Look at the whip. 0.65.
And he strikes out Montero to finish off a 1-2-3 opening inning. Mets come to bat against Jake Arrieta when we come back to Citi Field. Geico starting lineup. A little change. Daryl Siciliani moves up to the 2-hole. Eric Campbell gets a start in left field. Johnny Manel behind the plate. Daniel Murphy and Lucas Duda flip-flop spots in the batting order. We'll see if that perks up the Mets offense.
Well, Jake Arrieta is having a fine season also. He fills up Toyota numbers. See his whip outstanding. And he's always pitched well against the Mets. 1-1 with a 2.03 in 4 starts. He's like the human muscle out there.
Curtis Granderson, the Chicago native, will lead off. He's got great career numbers against Arrieta. Most of that accomplished when Arrieta was struggling as a Baltimore Oriole. Granderson with 3 career home runs against Arrieta. And he takes the first pitch fastball for a strike. Granderson has cooled down a little bit since his hot streak where he hit 5 home runs in a 7-game span. Just 1 for 9 in this series. Cubs do not overshift against him. And Arrieta gets ahead 0-2. You see those numbers against Jake Arrieta, who just couldn't get out of his own way as an Oriole and has been nothing but spectacular as a Chicago Cub. Curveball fouled off. Arrieta as an Oriole, 63 starts, 5.46 ERA. As a Cub, 49 starts, 2.85.
He was going through the teeth of the AL East at that time, when every team was strong and powerful.
0-2 coming, and sits high. There are the numbers for Arrieta, which we enumerated. Cubs got him in July of 2013, and it was like a light switch flipped. Presented by DraftKings. Play daily fantasy baseball for free on DraftKings.com. Enter promo code NYM for free entry. Well, he developed his cutter. That had a lot to do with his becoming a more effective pitcher. But for as small as Wrigley Field can play sometimes, sometimes it can be a big boost for a pitcher.
Yeah, I think for him, being on the grass field helped. Joe Madden's not going to hurt being his manager, but I think for Arrieta, he ironed out his mechanics. He talked about the cutter, and he got the breaking ball over. He's got an unhittable breaking ball, and when he gets it over, he's going to have a big game.
1-2 to Granderson, and check swing foul on the fastball. Daryl Siciliani on deck, then Daniel Murphy. The Mets stacking 4 left-handed bats at the top of the batting order against Arrieta. First time Siciliani's been up this high in the batting order. 7th pitch of the opening at bat to Granderson. He bounces the breaking ball foul. Arrieta now 29 years old. Came out of Texas Christian University's 5th round pick by the Orioles. And the Mets have never had any luck against him.
You know, Gary, he's a great example, though, that you give up on a power pitcher early and it could really come back to haunt you. To change his career.
Long opening at bat for Granderson. And Curtis goes down swinging for the first out.
What a change up there. That ball took a right turn on Granderson. Watch the change, release. Ends up out of the strike zone. That's the defense behind Arrieta, presented to you by Coors Light. Coughlin Denorfia gets a start in center field. Mike Baxter, the Queens kid, in right. Herrera at third base. Bryant with the day off. Castro, Russell, and Rizzo complete that infield. And Miguel Montero gets the start after David Ross started the first 2 games of the series.
So here's Siciliani making his 13th start, getting the call in center field today. Juan Lagares gets a day off. Siciliani 1 for 3 in this series. He's had 59 at bats since his call up.
He's that good cutter, just eats up the left-handers inside. And why is the cutter so hard for left-handers to hit? Because they recognize it down the middle, and then it comes right in on their hands. So their first thought is they see it, it's a pitch to hit, and then it just comes in and jams them.
And the curveball gets him. Arrieta with back-to-back strikeouts to start his day.
This is the breaking ball I was talking about. It's as good as Corey Kluber, who pitches for the Indians, won the Cy Young Award last year. I mean, it's a devastating curveball. He calls it a slider, though. He doesn't call it a curveball, but it's bigger than a slider.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Daniel Murphy. Murphy's looked good coming back from the disabled list. Was out more than 3 weeks with a quad injury. He's gone 3 for 9 in this series with a couple of doubles. And he hits one back toward the middle, and that's a base hit. So Murphy wasting no time as the Mets' first hit of the afternoon.
Murphy just has such a smart approach at the plate. When a guy gets the first 2 outs, he's saying to himself, he's going to want to get ahead of me with a fastball. He saw it happen against Granderson. He saw it happen to Siciliani. He said, I'm going to be waiting and ready for that first fastball, and he hits it up the middle. Smart hitter.
So here's Lucas Duda, and in the aftermath of the Mets' second straight shutout loss last night, Duda was really beating himself up after the game. Had a golden sombrero last night, 0 for 5 with 4 strikeouts. He was saying, this is all on me.
That's not true. I applaud him for taking it that way and putting it on him, but it's certainly not true. But Lucas has to get going at some point. It's a team epidemic. It's just not his fault.
Montero with a snap throw, and Murphy, who nearly got picked off second last night, able to get his hand back into first.
You think the advanced scouts have said that watch Murphy's when he's on the bases, he tries to take a little extra, so we'll make sure that we take a shot. Look at Rizzo with the foot there. He's out. Never got his hand around the foot. They could appeal that call.
Madden's at the top step, and he is asking for a review.
Yep.
So Madden's going to use his challenge straight away. The hand hits the foot.
Never gets on the base, on the elbow. Still not on the base. There we go.
Yeah, this is going to get overturned, I would think. And it'll be a pickoff for Montero. The play under review brought to you by Mazda Driving Matters. And while we wait, talking about Duda, as look at the play again, Murphy's hand going into Rizzo's foot. It's kind of a double-edged sword, right? You love your hitters to take responsibility, but at the same time, you don't want to put too much pressure on themselves.
Yeah, because you don't want to get into the point where that seeps into your play, where you start to be negative and lose some of your confidence. That Rizzo deal at first base, the next time you go into first base, you go spikes in, and he will never put his foot there again.
That's hard to do, though. Not too many guys go feet first back into the bag.
All you have to do is one time. If I saw it, and not me, I'm a former pitcher, but if players saw that, they would say to themselves, next time you go in there, don't take such a big lead. They throw it down there, go foot first.
And the call is overturned. Murphy is out. Cubs retain the challenge, and the bottom of the first is done. Murphy picked off. 2-3 first. Chris Coughlin hitting cleanup for the second straight day. Bats to lead off the second for Chicago. Coughlin 1 for 5 in this series. And takes a curveball in the dirt. Coughlin playing in his 141st consecutive game, which, believe it or not, is the longest active streak in the major leagues. Do you know who has the second longest active streak in the National League behind Coughlin?
I don't know.
Curtis Granderson playing in his 102nd consecutive game today. Now, you know, we're talking in the context of Cal Ripken, and Lou Gehrig, and Steve Garvey, and Billy Williams, all of whom played in 1,000, 2,000 games in a row. That just doesn't happen anymore.
Curtis, only 2,300 more to go.
I think he'll be doing charitable work in another venue.
He'll be the mayor of Chicago by then.
That's a good chance. There's a strike. Tosses the bat away, and Laz Diaz calls him back.
That's embarrassing for a hitter. Never assume. Wait till the pitch. I think it was a ball, too. Coughlin's going with the Magnum PI look today. With the shirt open. All he's missing is the
mustache
and the Ferrari.
3-2 to Coughlin with Mike Baxter on deck. And that's inside, and now he gets to take his base without nearly as much of a bat flip. And the Cubs have their first base runner. Laz Diaz has the plate today. Laser, Guccione, Fagan, the other umpires. Now, last night there was a controversial play in the 8th inning after the Siciliani missed suicide squeeze, where the Mets did not run the bases particularly effectively, and were fortunate that 2 runners weren't called out on the same play. I was interested. Laz Diaz was the umpire as the crew chief who made the comments after the game describing why they made the call they did. And he said when Ruben Tejada went back to third and wandered a couple of feet up the left field line, they said he abandoned his effort to be safe.
Yeah.
And at that point, the bag then belonged to Murphy, and that's why Murphy wasn't out. I thought that was a very curious explanation.
I didn't like it either. I mean, I paraphrase it as abandoned his effort to continue. And it doesn't, to me, it doesn't matter. If you go past the runner that is supposed to be behind you at some point, that's the rub for me. That rubs it the wrong way. But
Baxter takes high 2-1. Here's the play last night. Siciliani misses the bunt. Tejada's hung out to dry. Murphy moves up.
What Tejada has to do is just get tagged out or stay on the base, one or the other, not go past Murph.
See, now in the rules, there's something about abandoning your effort, and it's more along the lines of heading toward the dugout, hit and run play, and Baxter pops one up. Murphy waiting for it to come down, and that's the first out. Coughlin will go back to first. Murphy one-handing that ball, and one was popped out of his glove. Like on a strikeout on a ball in the dirt where the hitter doesn't attempt to go to first and walks off toward the dugout.
Because they're angry and they just don't want to continue to play.
I mean, Tejada's still on the field of play. Yeah. He could have easily gone right back to third base. So I don't really understand the explanation. I mean, technically, and we said this last night, when Tejada went past the bag, Murphy had then passed him on the bases, and Murphy at that point should have been out, and then the tag on Tejada should have been a second out, and I'm sure that's what Joe Madden was arguing, although Joe downplayed it after the game because
they won.
After all, they won.
Yeah, if they had lost, he would have had something to say.
And then Siciliani struck out anyway, so it made it kind of a moot point. Chris Denorfia, the batter, with 1 out and 1 on. Lined over the second baseman's head and into right center, a base hit. Coughlin's going to go first to third. And the Cubs, with their first hit, have runners at the corners with 1 out.
Now, if you want to freeze it on Siciliani first, well, he couldn't do that, but when you want to freeze them on the base runners, watch when they get back here. Tejada should give up right now and just be tagged out, or if he's going to go back to the bag, just stand on the bag with Murphy. Montero will tag both, and Tejada will be out. Murphy will be out, and Tejada will stay at the base that he occupied. But since he got off, that's how I thought it was 2 outs.
Herrera tries a drag bunt, gets it down, and DeGrom's going to go to first with it, and the Cubs get the run. It was not a suicide squeeze, but the safety squeeze brings home Coghlan with the first run of the game, and it's 1-0 Chicago.
Now, for you folks at home, what's the difference? Well, with the sacrifice squeeze, you bunt the ball, and then the runner on third reads it. And DeGrom knew he didn't have a play, so he made the play at first. What made it easier for Coghlan is if you watch Murph, when Herrera bunts here and rounds a bunt, Murph comes in. As Murph is coming in, Coghlan can come in with Murph. That allows Coghlan to get a little better jump.
So it goes to sacrifice, 1-3, bringing home the run. Herrera picks up his 8th RBI, and the Cubs get the first run of the game.
That being said, it's about as perfect a bunt as you can have for a sacrifice squeeze.
Jake Arrieta just 1 for 29 at the plate this year. Well, at a time when the Mets are not scoring very many runs at all, a walk, an advancing single, and a safety squeeze bunt feels like an avalanche.
Well, we've noticed already Joe Maddon has had a hit and run. He's had a sacrifice squeeze. Coghlan went from first to third. They're really trying to push the accelerator here on the third game of the series.
And they're executing.
And neither team's done that really well in the first 2 games of the series.
DeGrom throwing sliders to the pitcher, 2-2. That, by the way, that's the first run that Jacob DeGrom has allowed in the second inning this year. He had given up 9 earned runs in the first inning, none in the second inning. And now that's broken. And he strikes out Arrieta with another slider. His second strikeout to end the inning. But on a safety squeeze bunt, the Cubs take the lead 1-0 in the second. On SNY.TV, featuring pitch-by-pitch coverage, player cards, and in-depth stats. Check out SNY Game Day on SNY.TV, your online home of all things New York sports. Lucas Duda leads off for the Mets in the home second. Duda was at the plate when Daniel Murphy was picked off first base by the catcher Montero to end the first.
Whoa.
Dragonfly.
Game of Thrones.
You think the person whose hat that is knows that dragonfly is there? Duda, Flores, and Campbell for the Mets against Jake Arrieta in the second. Arrieta struck out a pair in the first inning. Mets have now gone 21 straight innings without scoring a run, matching their longest drought of the season. It's the third time they've gone 21 straight innings without a run this year. Two and two to Duda. Lucas has seen his batting average wither away to 255. His on base percentage is still .360, which is nice, but it was a lot higher earlier in the year. And his power has dried up as well. He lays off the curveball in the dirt, and it's 3-2.
Well, that's a good sign. He's laid off a couple curveballs.
Jake Arrieta acquired in July of 2013 for a finesse pitcher, Scott Feldman. Went to the Orioles. Ground ball, Rizzo with a nice sit spin and finds Arrieta for the first down. Well, we were talking earlier about Lucas Duda taking responsibility on his shoulders. Here's some of what Lucas had to say after the game last night.
Essentially, it's centered around me. I'm not getting the job done. I'm not moving guys over, not getting guys in. Had a pretty tough month, actually. But, I'm going to continue to work hard, prepare like I do. And I have a good feeling it's going to change here soon.
Now, that shows you what kind of metal that Mr. Duda's made of. He's not responsible for this entire offense. He's not responsible for getting people over, but I know what he's feeling. He feels like I'm the big gun and I should be doing a little more. Well, everyone should be doing a little more. I think that's the key, but I think it means something to your teammates when you go out there, especially when some of them don't meet with the media, and he went out there and took it on his shoulders.
0-2 to Wilmer Flores, and he goes after a pitch out of the strike zone, and Arrieta makes quick work of Flores, who's now 0 for his last 15.
Well, just a little slider away. The whole thing about Flores is that middle of plate in, he's covering pretty well. Any pitch away now, he just has no ability to put in play hard, drive it.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Eric Campbell. Campbell getting a start in left field today. Michael Kadire had the cortisone shot in his knee yesterday. Was not feeling all that well this morning. And the Mets are only going with a 4-man bench right now. And with Kadire unavailable, they're going to have to make a decision in the next day or two as to whether to put him on the DL if he's not ready to go. I don't know how much it's going to help him flying 6 hours to California tonight.
And also you're getting closer to the PCL, so maybe that if he can't go, you got to make the decision quicker than later. What I mean by that is that this team too many times has been left with less than the full roster of people. It's not like he's hitting 400 or 350 and you need him back in the lineup. Yes, you want him back in the lineup. He's a part of the lineup, big part of the lineup. But you can't go these games without a full complement of roster, especially when you'd be facing Kershaw and Greinke the next 2 nights.
And especially when you're not scoring, you're in close games. You'd like to make moves to be able to, find ways to get yourself over the hump. And last night the Mets ran out of position players. They were going to have to use a pitcher to pinch hit if that 11th inning had gone farther. Curveball misses from Arrieta. 2-2 to Campbell. Campbell's actually been on base each of his last 5 plate appearances, 4 walks and a hit by pitch. But in terms of getting base hits, just 7 for his last 66. And the curveball gets him looking. 4th strikeout for Arrieta. through the first 2 innings. 1-0 Chicago. Jacob deGrom, a leadoff walk in the second inning, came back to bite him as the Cubs were able to generate a run with a safety squeeze bunt. Addison Russell hitting 9th in the order. That's been his normal spot. Got the day off yesterday, came off the bench. He's been struggling lately, 0 for his last 11. 21-year-old rookie. And he takes a fastball high for ball 1.
This kid is going to be fine. He's going to be a real solid major league player.
Question is, at what position will he be a player? Because he was a shortstop all through the minor leagues and has, I think, a lot more value as a shortstop than he does as a second baseman.
He does have value, but even as a shortstop, he was hit first, field second.
Down the right field line, Granderson right to the sidewall, but runs out of room. Take a look at our Verizon trivia question for today. Besides Tom Seaver, the only Met to throw 275 innings. I assume that's in a regular season, right? Not including a postseason.
Well, I mean, my first thought goes to the Coos.
Or one of the early guys back in the 4-man rotation.
Roger Craig.
Al Jackson.
Yeah, good call.
Jack Fisher. Could have been any of those guys. In the 5-man rotation didn't really start until Rube Walker took over as the Mets pitching coach with Gil Hodges in '68. Out to right field. This one's playable for Granderson. And Russell retired one away. I mean, Jack Fisher and Roger Craig each lost 24 games in the season. It takes a lot of innings to do that.
Yeah, they probably had 40 starts.
And they might have had relief outings as well back in those days.
Yeah, no, that brings them right there. 40 times 7 plus. That's right there. That's 280, you know?
So I have no idea, but that's where my thoughts would go. Those early guys. Starlin Castro pulls one through the hole. So Castro, serving as the leadoff hitter today, gets himself aboard with 1 out. The second hit against deGrom.
You know what's interesting, Gary, is that I was mentioning that deGrom in a couple of starts has struggled against the Cubs. So we look at deGrom and we go, all-star, unbelievable pitchers, had this eight game started run. I mean, as good as any in baseball. But the Cubs look at him differently. We can hit him. We've hit him before. We can take him deep. So it's funny how that works in the game.
Back to Anthony Rizzo, who's stepping in now, had a home run against deGrom. 2 career starts, 7.20 ERA for Jacob against the Cubs. The Mets, by the way, have lost all 6 games they've played with the Cubs this season, and this is their last meeting of the year. If the Cubs were to win today and finish the year 7-0 against the Mets, it would be the first time that the Cubs had swept a season series of as many as 7 games since 1885, when they went 10-0 against the Buffalo Bisons, then a member of the National League. That was their last year of existence. The Bisons, although they were not a good team that year, they finished 38-74, had 2 Hall of Famers on their team, Dan Bruthers and Pud Galvin.
Oh, Pud.
Pud Galvin was a 5'8" right-hander, by the way.
1888.
So 1885.
1885, sorry.
I mean, that's 130 years ago. So the Cubs could do something today that their franchise hasn't done in 130 years, even longer than since they won their last World Series, which is only 107 years ago.
Well, that's why Joe Madden was brought here.
Because of Pud Galvin?
No, because of that other.
1-2 to Rizzo with Montero on deck. And
very unusual for DeGrom, who is a fastball first kind of pitcher, guy who pounds the strike zone. See Montero there on deck. Has just dominated lineups, and he's come out against the Cubs, and we've seen a lot of sliders, a lot of changeups.
But that's got to have a lot to do with those 2 prior starts.
I agree, totally. He's trying to change it up a little bit.
Rizzo with a late swing foul. Oldie but a goodie.
Bad dude.
John wore 12. He also wore 16 during his Mets career.
16 early or late?
Yeah,
early, right? Before Mazzo got here.
Right. Left center field, Siciliani cutting over. That's the second out, and Castro goes back to first. Now Miguel Montero, who struck out his first time up. Well, it's a big day for season debuts today. A couple of afternoon games going on that feature pitchers making their returns. None more heralded than Jose Fernandez for the Marlins, starting against the Giants this afternoon in Miami. And he's starting against Matt Cain, who's also making his first start of the season. Pulled down to first, right underneath Duda and into right field. Castro's going to turn second and go to third. A ground ball single for Montero puts runners at the corners with 2 out. Like Duda had a chance for that ball, but it just snuck underneath him.
Gets off pretty far from that bag, but just beat him. Hit hard enough that he couldn't get his glove down in time. Avoided by Castro, but he was still able to go from first to third.
Dan Worthen's going to pay a visit to the mound before DeGrom takes on Coghlan. Mets down 1-0 in the third, and certainly can't afford to give up too much more. Anyway, so Jose Fernandez gets off to a tough start today. Gives up 2 runs in the first, a run in the fifth. He's down 3-1. And then in the bottom of the fifth, he hits a home run against Matt Cain. And then Justin Bour followed with another 3-run homer. He had a walk-off last night.
And that's 3 home runs in 3 days.
And the Marlins are up 5-3 in the sixth. Meanwhile, Matt Moore is also making his season debut. The talented lefty for Tampa Bay, coming back from elbow surgery. He's facing Cleveland. He's down 4-2 in the sixth. So it's an unusual day. It's July 2nd, and you've got 3 very talented pitchers all making their first starts of the year halfway through the season. Castro at third, Montero at first with 2 out. Coghlan walked and scored in the second inning.
That was a very unusual visit from Dan Worthen. You know, he's been on a roll, saw something he didn't like. Again, continuing with the breaking pitches against the lefties of the Cubs.
And you see his fastball, it's not popping at 96.
His fastball command when he's going right, he just will pour in the strikes. But because he's thrown so many breaking balls, he's lost feel of that fastball.
He's behind on Coughlin 2-0. And he misses away. He's just not throwing the same free and easy that we're used to seeing from Jake.
Yeah, he's not right today. And that happens in some of these day games where you got to get up earlier, get it going quicker, and sometimes you don't feel it right away, but you got to battle through it.
And he walks Coughlin on 4 pitches. Second time Coughlin has walked, and that loads the bases for Mike Baxter. So DeGrom trying to fight his way through whatever is ailing him today. Mets played a long game last night, and in the 11th inning, DeGrom had his spikes on, ready to pinch hit if needed. Well after 11 o'clock.
I guess what I'm trying to say is that when you have had a great run like DeGrom has, you're going to have a game where you don't feel 100%. You just got to battle your way through it. You got 2 outs here. Get an out by Baxter and figure it out as you go along.
Baxter popped up his first time up, and he takes a fastball for a strike. I mean, we've talked a lot about the 6-man rotation, and so far, the first time through that 6-man rotation, the Mets starters have all fared well, but it is a little bit of a different rhythm. And here's DeGrom pitching on 6 days rest after working last Thursday in Milwaukee. Does that have anything to do with him being out of sorts?
I don't think so. I think it's just one of those days that he just doesn't have his A+ stuff. But you know what? The real good pitchers, when they have their A+ stuff, they dominate. When they don't have their B stuff or so, they'll find a way to win. When they don't have their great stuff, they find a way for the team to win.
He's got a path through the darkness here, ahead on Baxter 0-2. And Baxter pops it up. Murphy waiting for it. Side retired. So DeGrom has a rough 3rd inning, but finds a way to put up a 0. Still 1-0 Chicago. .com. Johnny Manel lead off for the Mets in the home 3rd. Mets down 1-0. Manel getting his 5th start. Started on Sunday in Steven Matz's debut and had a couple of hits. 0 for 2 in this series. Facing Jake Arrieta, who's looked awfully good so far, and he pours in a fastball for a strike.
You have to say Johnny will get another start on this Sunday, right? With Matt's pitching, you wouldn't want to change that up.
It'll be interesting to see, won't it?
Right.
I mean, Plawecki also caught Matz this year down at Vegas.
We're coming off a jam. I mean, I think you got to throw him back out there. And not sure if Bolsinger is going to pitch for the Dodgers, but if he does, right-hander.
He's been a little under the weather. Piano Singer, who's actually done a very nice job filling in at the back of that Dodger rotation, the former Diamondback. 0-2 to Manel, and the curveball. Did he swing? He did. Strike 3.
That's a tough call.
That's 5 strikeouts through the first 7 batters for Arrieta, who's looked absolutely dominant.
You know, a team struggling against a pitcher on top of his game with unhittable stuff. That ball hit. Did you see the mark? That ball hit almost 5 feet in front of the plate.
Right now it's DeGrom, who has 6 hits this season. 6 for 34. That's about 1 hit against Arrieta. Daniel Murphy singled with 2 out in the first and promptly got picked off first base. That's now working on 22 consecutive scoreless innings, their longest drought of the season. Here's a strike, 2-1 to DeGrom, with Ruben Tejada hitting 9th in the order today. He's on deck. Now, the last 13 games, the Mets have scored 22 runs. Been shut out 4 times in that span, including the last 2 days. DeGrom hits one well out to left center field. Back in the gap, Coghlan won't get to it. It short hops the wall. Mets pitching staff having to do it all themselves. DeGrom with his first extra base hit of the season.
Fastball away, goes that way, and this ball really carried, but not tons of speed in the outfield. Remember, Fowler's out today. Denorfia playing center field. Neither he or Coghlan could get over there to catch it, but great double by DeGrom.
Fowler watching from the bench as Jacob DeGrom picks up his 3rd career double. So the tying run at second with 1 out. Now Ruben Tejada. Ruben 0 for his last 17. Average down to 228. Slowly hit. DeGrom will have to hold. And Castro throws out Tejada 2 away. Do you find it at all coincidental or meaningful that since the Mets made the switch at second and short with Flores and Tejada, neither one of them has had a hit?
Well, Tejada first. Tejada is field first, hit second. So I'm not as surprised about that. But, you know, we didn't give a lot of thought to this, but we thought moving Flores, up here in the booth we thought, moving Flores to second base, a position that we think is more natural for him than shortstop, we didn't factor in how it would factor for his hitting. Like how we would feel that the experiment of playing shortstop is gone.
So you think it had an emotional impact that might affect his hitting?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
You know, at some point, you know, something they stuck to for a long time with Wilmer was that he was our shortstop, our shortstop, our shortstop. Now they've made the move. He's gone to second base. So I don't know. I'm not inside of Wilmer Flores, but how does he take that? Does he take it as that he's a failure, or he's happy to move to second base, or he's happy to do whatever it takes for the team to win? I don't know.
Yeah. And hopefully, if there is an impact, it's short term.
Yeah, puts more pressure on himself to do more offensively. I don't know.
Two and 1 to Granderson, who struck out his first time up. And he lays off. 3-1.
This is going to be a. He's not going to just throw a fastball down the middle of Granderson here. This is going to be a breaking ball, a changeup, I would think, with the base open.
Well, he threw him a changeup 2-1. See if he comes back with that 3-1. You got Siciliani on deck. DeGrom at second and 2 down.
And he drills one deep right field. Going back, Baxter beyond his reach, and it bounces over the wall for a ground rule double. DeGrom comes in to score, and the Mets have their first run of the series. Curtis Granderson with an RBI double, and the Mets tie the game at 1.
Well, a mistake from Arrieta there. Tried to throw the cutter in on Granderson, caught right the middle of the plate, and Granderson jumped all over it. Nice swing and nice hitting by Grandy. He's been the hottest Met hitter This ball one hops over the wall. Baxter calls, but Baxter played it anyway just in case.
So Jacob deGrom now becomes the 6th Mets starter this year to garner an extra base hit. That's right. Every one of the Mets' 6 starters has at least one extra base hit this season. There's Siciliani, and he fouls one into the ground. Siciliani struck out his first time up. So the Mets, after 22 consecutive fruitless innings in this series, finally played a run. And it's the pitcher who comes home to score. That's where they left off on Sunday.
That's right.
Matt's doing all the damage. Curveball from Arrieta gets him ahead on Siciliani, 0-2.
It was interesting, that dugout shot of deGrom and Matz were very close. They spent a lot of time together when they both had Tommy John surgery, so they've gotten to know each other, both having a laugh.
There was a little bit of a sheepish grin on deGrom's face, and I wonder, if the pitchers are the guys producing offensively and the rest of the team struggling, do you almost feel a little embarrassed?
Not embarrassed. You just don't want them to see, that you're making too big of a deal out of it. You know what I mean? Just low play it. Be humble, hilly. Do not go out there and be bragging about it. Just do it. And now pitching again. Back to concentrate on pitching.
Future's so bright. 1-2 to Siciliani with Murphy on deck. Right between the wickets on Arrieta, but Castro's there to field it. And Siciliani's out to end the inning. Well, the Mets played their first run in this 3-game series, and it's Jacob deGrom igniting it. He doubles and trades places with Granderson. Mets have a run. 1-1 after 3 at Citi Field. Fourth inning, Jacob deGrom scoring the run that got the Mets even. Now he'll take on Chris Zadorfia to start the 4th inning. Zadorfia singled to right center to help set up the Cubs' run in the 2nd inning. Zadorfia playing center field today, which he's done quite a bit in his career, but Chris is now 34 years old, doesn't move quite as well as he did earlier in his career. 1-2 to Zadorfia. Jonathan Herrera on deck, then the pitcher Jake Arrieta. Each team with a run on 3 hits through the first 3 innings. One, two. Off the corner with the fastball. 2-2 to Denorfia. Ram has struck out 2, walked 2. Does not look too sharpest today, but he had a huge out in the 3rd after the Cubs loaded the bases. Denorfia fouls off the slider.
Denorfia has made himself into a good player, bench player, guy that comes in and feasts on left-handed pitching, tough out, good 2-strike hitter.
Popped up. Flores has the call. 1 away. Let's check in with Steve Gelb. Steve?
Gary, with the Mets offense scuffling here in the last couple of weeks, a lot of talk about potentially bringing up Michael Conforto straight from Double-A. He's hitting .330 in Double-A in 29 games this year. Front office, though, after talking with some people, it's not going to happen. They think it's a little bit too soon. As one guy in the front office said to me, that's just not in the cards. They don't want to rush him at this point. After hearing that, I spoke with a scout for a National League team and asked him, and this scout happens to love Michael Conforto, thinks he can be an impact player at the Major League level as soon as next year. He texted me this, though. He said, people are looking for a savior. It could kill the kid's confidence. Not enough minor league at-bats. Not ready. Too soon. So he agrees with the Mets' take at this point, not bringing Conforto up.
Well, we talked about this, Gary and I talked about this on one of our opens about 10 days ago. And what I brought up when the offense was struggling to think outside the box is that, one, if you're a sports psychologist, boy, that's a heck of a text. That you could be crushed. I mean, you're not supposed to think about your players like that. I mean, no one's going to be crushed, right? But when you draft a kid from college, Gary, you draft him from college because he's going to be here quicker. And he's got 293 minor league at-bats. You take 2 players for the Nationals. Zimmerman and Rendon had 500 combined at-bats in the minor league.
Also both college.
Also both college players. Came right to the major leagues and made a big difference. I'm not saying Conforto is that player. I'm just saying college players can do that.
Well, also, there are other contrasts. That broken bat, DeGrom off the mound quickly, is a terrific fielder. He throws out Herrera for the second out. You know, contrast that with what the Twins did today. The Twins brought up Miguel Sano, who's considered by a lot of people the best hitting prospect in the minor leagues. Sano also is coming up from Double-A. He had 66 games in Double-A. He's 22 years old, the same age as Michael Conforto. So Conforto had more college experience. Sano, because he signed as an international player, has more minor league experience. But same age, same level. Some organizations are willing to make that move, and the Mets, across their recent and even more distant history, have been very reluctant to jump players a level.
Yeah, they're very conservative.
And, you know, to me, you know, the question is, if you right now are desperate for offense, and the Mets, especially heading into this stretch that they're headed for right now, playing some of the best teams in the league over the next few weeks, if they don't find offense very quickly, they could get buried.
Yeah.
And to me, it just seems as though the possibility of bringing up a kid and trying him out for a couple of weeks and seeing if you catch lightning in a bottle is appealing. And obviously the Mets don't feel the same way. If it doesn't work out, you send him down AAA, let him tear up the Pacific Coast League, and whatever confidence you might have breached for 2 weeks, you could get back in a hurry.
Pull a Darnell. In July, the teams the Mets face have a combined winning percentage. You see it there, around .550. So that's what Gary was talking about being buried. Good pitch there. Didn't get it from Laz Diaz.
So it's all great conversation.
Yeah,
Bob.
I mean, listen, the prerogative to be conservative, that's fine. It's just it's like a boat leaking.
Murphy on the back end, and the low throw is scooped out by Duda, and they get Arrieta to end the inning. 1-2-3 inning for DeGrom. Still 1-1 game in the 4th. Syndergaard in tomorrow's Mets-Dodgers opener in L.A. on Loudmouth today at 5:30 only on SNY. By the way, Syndergaard's facing Kershaw.
Oh, that's it?
That wasn't in the promo. Verizon trivia question. We asked besides Tom Seaver, the only Met to throw 275 innings in a season. And we'll give you the answer in just a moment. As David Murphy takes ball one. He's Doc.
Oh, the doctor.
In his seminal season of 1985.
276 and 2/3.
Now, Seaver threw 275 plus as a Met 5 times. Doc did it once. And then Seaver has the next 2 highest totals. So Seaver has 7 of the 8 highest inning totals in Mets history. Murphy slashes one to Herrera at third. 1 out.
Well, just imagine if 30 years ago Doc hadn't pitched in that 19-inning game where he only won a couple innings. He might have got to 280 that year.
So none of those early day Mets are in the top 10. Seaver's got 7 of the top 8 spots. The next on the list is John Matlack. He threw 265 and a third in 1974, and then Jerry Kuzma. Here's Lucas Duda. Duda grounded out to Rizzo, made a nice play in the second inning. Lucas now 7 hits in his last 50 at bats. A lot of those kinds of numbers up and down the Mets lineup. And he stopped the swing in time 2-0. A lot of camp groups here today. Love looking at the T-shirts.
And I never even went to camp, and I love it.
Those nice colorful T-shirts, different sections with different colors. Duda gets jammed and fouls it back 2-1. Well, that Arrieta cutter is just devastating on the left.
It just bores in, and I mean B-O-R-E, bores in on the left-handed hitters. It looks appetizing, and then it just starts pulling a Mariano Rivera in on your hands.
The reason the lefties are hitting just 208 against Arrieta this year. He's done better against lefties than against righties. And that one hits Duda, and he is plunked for the 11th time this season. And he always seems to get hit in the leg.
Well, this one hit him in the left, above the left knee, I believe. His left knee. Let's see. Yep, right above the left knee.
His right thigh has taken most of the abuse this year.
That's 11 times for Lucas.
Catching up to Rizzo.
So he and Rizzo at first base, they can have a conversation.
It's all about the bruises. So the Mets have the go-ahead run at first with 1 out. So they've been hit 26 times between them, Rizzo and Duda. Now Flores, has struck out on 3 pitches his first time up. Now 0 for his last 15. Go-ahead run at first with 1 out. And Wilmer goes after a pitch out of the strike zone. 0-1. Campbell sitting 6th in the order. He's waiting on deck. Hit hard and caught by Russell. Beautiful play for the second out.
Well, I said before that on the ball away that Wilmer's had a tough time really driving that ball. Well, that was not a problem there. Great strike to the right side, but even better defensive play by Addison Russell. We talked about his ability to be a shortstop. He's got great range.
And good base running by Duda to avoid getting doubled off. So now 2 out, and here's Campbell, who took the call third strike his first time up. So all the returning pitchers are done for the day. We'll say Fernandez went 6 innings and hit a home run. Matt Cain went 5 1/3 and left trailing. And Matt Moore lasted just 4 2/3, gave up 4 runs.
Probably on a hard pitch count was Matt Moore.
He throws a lot of pitches anyway.
Yes, he does.
Threw 81 today. But I think for most guys coming back from long-term injuries, just getting on the mound the first time is the most important thing. So let's see, Kane pitched today. Mets will probably see him in the series in San Francisco next week. That's lined, and Herrera goes up for it. Or I should say Russell does. Russell diving to his left. Russell rising, and Campbell retired. Still 1-1. And you may see yourself in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. Addison Russell just caught a couple of line drives to end the 4th inning. Will start the 5th for the Cubs. Russell flied to right his first time up. Castro and Rizzo to follow against Jacob deGrom. Worked a 1-2-3 4th inning after having to deal with trouble in the 2nd and 3rd.
Getting underneath that slider, and what do I mean by that? He's leading with his elbow, so what is happening? He's not getting on top of the ball. That's why it's just spinning in the top of the strike zone.
In the air to left, and Campbell's right there. Russell retired, 1 out. A lost art. I wonder what percentage of fans who come to games keep scoring it? Less than 1%?
Yeah, very low. Very low. I think they still have the programs with this scorecard in it, so you can do it if you want.
Right. Do they still have the little stubby pencils with no eraser?
I don't think they have that anymore.
It used to be like 50 cents for the program and 5 cents for the pencil. I guess you could keep score on an app.
You could keep score on an app or check your phone and miss the action.
Well, that happens. There's a lot of distractions these days. Not just at baseball games.
No, everywhere.
I
I told you about that coffee shop I went by, and they had a placard outside that said, where will you be spending your weekend on your phone and missing how beautiful it is?
There's the stubby pencil. 1-2 to Castro. And it's up and in.
Is there anything you do now that you used to do as a kid on your scorecard? Or are there a lot of things that you... Is there anything you've retained since you were a kid?
No, it's kind of...
It's evolved into
so
what
much more information that I need to keep now. You know, when I was a kid...
Were you an F7 guy or just a 7?
Just 7,
okay.
which I still am.
Okay.
But when I was a kid, I didn't want to spend the 50 cents for the program because I didn't have it.
Yeah.
It was enough to get the $1.30 to buy the general admission ticket. So I would bring 2 sheets of loose leaf paper and make my own scorecard.
There you go. And you still do that to this day. The scorecards you have right now, the ones you made for yourself, right?
Yeah, but they're not loose leaf paper
no.
anymore. No, but I kept all those loose leaf pages in loose leaf folders.
You do?
And they're all up in my attic.
Oh, I got to see that someday. Have to.
I mean, we're talking about going back to the late 60s.
Oh, I have to see that.
7th pitch of the at-bat coming to Castro. And the curveball bounced foul. But the problem I had using the loose leaf paper is there's no place for reserves, right? You're just stringing the players down the side. So I used to put all the reserves on the bottom.
On the bottom of...
In a very strange configuration, which I can't even explain. I put the number of the place in the batting order where they were, but they weren't necessarily. It was in order that they came into the game. So if you got a long game with a lot of players coming in, you'd have players all out of order.
Okay, I get it.
And somehow it made sense to me. Strange brain. Toward the hole, Murphy cuts it off, does the spinorama, low throw, and it scoots by Duda. Trying for second is Castro, and he'll make it safely. That was a tough one for Duda to handle. And Castro winds up on second base.
Well, Murph gets to this ball. I wouldn't advise the spinorama, as you called it, Gary. I don't think he had to do it, but he did it, and he had plenty of time to make a perfect throw. Just a real tough one on Duda. This was an in-between hop, and so wide that Duda tried to stretch and make a play of it, but couldn't.
Castro will get an infield hit. Murphy with an error, and that puts the go-ahead run at second with 1 out, and Anthony Rizzo at the plate. Rizzo's 0 for 2, grounded out and flied out. And he gets jammed and fouls it off. Mets have done a great job against Rizzo so far in this series, just 1 for 11. But extremely dangerous.
They've done a great job on that first pitch. He's so dangerous on the first pitch. He's not hurt them this series.
Castro, excellent speed at second with 1 out. And DeGrom quickly ahead 0-2. Anthony Rizzo, by the way, on a day when Joe Madden has given some other people days off, he doesn't take days off. In fact, he has started every game for the Cubs this year. There are only 2 other players in the majors who've started every game. Mike Trout.
Yeah, that's right, Trout did.
Manny Machado. And that's it. All 25 and younger, right?
DeGrom continues to try to climb the ladder against Rizzo. Machado trying to make up for some lost time. A couple of years ended by injury. Little choke up by Rizzo with 2 strikes.
And able to fight that changeup away.
And here's a guy you were talking about, Gary, that has only 40 strikeouts. Big power hitter. Great OPS, but with 2 strikes, he has an approach. Wants to put the ball in play.
Well, that's how you limit your strikeouts and give yourself a chance to fight on.
You know how you can tell that DeGrom is just not where he's been the last 8 starts? The fouling back of numerous pitches. You know, he usually is a swing and miss kind of guy when he's up in the strike zone.
Only 2 strikeouts today for DeGrom, who's averaged 9 strikeouts per 9 innings this year. Pitch count getting up there, 87 now with 1 out in the 5th. So this is not going to be a day when he goes particularly deep. Rizzo fouling off all his best offerings and then drills one down the right field line, and that just goes foul.
Boy, just by a foot and a half or so. Good break for the Mets and DeGrom. Bad break for Rizzo. I was telling you guys before, on Tuesday I was going to the gym around 10 o'clock in the morning, and Rizzo was coming out of the gym. So here he was after an off day, had already done his work by 10 o'clock in the morning before he was going to come to the ballpark.
Shallow center. Siciliani won't get to it. It drops for a base hit. Castro heading home. The wild throw by Campbell, not nearly in time. It's an RBI single for Anthony Rizzo, and the Cubs go back in front 2-1. Well, he fouled off 6 pitches in a row, and then he dumps one into shallow left center to drive in the run.
But isn't it a great example of perseverance that a guy that has all that power with 2 strikes just tries to put the ball in play? Something good might happen, and Tejada can't make the play. I mean, it's not a great hit ball. He's jammed. Good read by Castro.
Well, it's a nice lesson for all the all-or-nothing sluggers out there. Rizzo drives in his 45th run of the year, and the Cubs go up 2-1. So the throwing error by Daniel Murphy proves costly in the moment for Jacob DeGrom, who's just trying to fight his way through this afternoon without his best stuff. Miguel Montero has struck out and singled to right, 1 for 2. And DeGrom finds the corner, 0-1. Montero spent 9 years with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Made the All-Star game twice. He drills one deep to center field. Siciliani way back, and he runs it down. Rizzo was around second, has to retrace his steps, and gets back to first. A long second out off the bat of Montero.
Montero covered this baseball, but Siciliani plays a little deeper than Lagares. Was able to get to it pretty easily. But he covered a lot of ground.
I don't think he knew how far Rizzo had gone, but it was such a long throw he probably wouldn't have had a chance to throw behind him anyway.
We got to show it because it's perfect base running by Rizzo. He rounds the bag and then retags it.
Imagine that. Knowing the rules. 2 out. Rizzo still at first. Here's Coghlan, who's walked twice and scored a run. And takes a fastball for a strike. Rom up over 90 pitches. Bullpen still quiet for the Mets. Rizzo takes a walking lead but doesn't go. And Coghlan takes the ball. Rizzo, who will sneak a stolen base often, that time could have walked his way to second base, it appeared. Into the Cubs dugout, and bodies go scattering, 1-2. Higher pitch counts than normal for Jacob DeGrom this afternoon. Got through 8 innings with just 100 pitches in his last start in Milwaukee. 1-2 to Coghlan coming. He gets jammed, flies one out to right. Granderson, though, comes in to get it, and that retires the side. But an unearned run for the Cubs on Anthony Rizzo's RBI single. 2-1 Chicago halfway through. Home fifth inning. Johnny Manel leads off for the Mets, who trail 2-1 against Jake Arrieta.
And a line drive right through the originator and into center field.
That's the Johnny Manel we saw in spring training. Up there hacking and hitting bullets.
Well, he loves the fastball. He loves the fastball up. That's where this pitch is. Belt high and a bullet up the middle. That's how fast this ball gets on Arrieta. I mean, barely gets his glove up.
If it had been headed for his face, he never would have been able to protect himself. Now DeGrom, who doubled and scored the only Met run, he's asked to bunt this time and fouls it off. Or
I think that just went off the catcher Montero.
Yeah, I thought it was a foul ball. Did he miss it?
No,
he missed it.
DeGrom pulled the bat back and it hit Montero in the shin guards and it went out to front of the plate.
So it's a wild pitch that moves Manel to second base.
Nice job by DeGrom taking that bat back.
Good base running by Manel. Seeing that ball bounce in front of Montero. Now the corners come in again looking for the bunt. And this time he's set to swing and takes low and inside. 2-0.
Absolutely. Can handle the bat. Let him swing the bat. You got an RBI out there. The defense shaded a little to left field. I think DeNorfia is too shallow in center field. He was on the double in the previous at bat for DeGrom.
And Baxter very shallow on the pull side.
Broken back, caught by Arrieta. The throw to second and off the bag. And Manel able to get back safely. Had that throw been a little lower and Castro not have to elevate, or did he call him out?
He called him out.
Wow.
Well, what happens is the throw's not good, but somehow Castro kept his foot on the bag even though he was leaping.
I don't know about
well, maybe
that.
he didn't. Maybe he didn't.
Well, the Mets are certainly going to challenge this. Well, let's see. Is he on the bag? Is he off the bag?
When I saw it in real time, I thought he had stayed on the bag. Is the glove in the ball in the glove? I think it is.
Looks like it is. So it's a good call. And the Mets will not challenge. How about that? That's an athletic play by Castro.
And DeGrom with a bullet.
So it's a double play, 1-6 on the broken bat liner by DeGrom. And now Tejada will bat with 2 out and nobody on. So that fizzled in a hurry.
I was talking about Arrieta's mechanics before, Gary. He's really ironed him out because he's almost starts from the stretch even though he's in the windup, and then he just steps back and goes. Very simple.
Little bloop, and Russell's there to grab it. Tejada retired, and so are the Mets. Turns into a 6-pitch inning for Arrieta. Still 2-1 Chicago after 5. The All-Star Game ballot at Mets.com. Voting is exclusively online and available on your computer, tablet, and smartphone. Voting ends tonight, so get to Mets.com now. Mike Baxter leads off the 6th inning. Baxter's been up twice, popped up to the third baseman both trips. Jacob deGrom working into the 6th inning. He's given up just 1 earned run today, but down in the game 2-1. DeGrom has had 7 straight starts in which he's gone at least 7 innings. Not likely to go 7 innings today.
It's up around 100 already, right?
97 pitches. 0-2 to Baxter. And he misses inside. DeGrom's season high is 109 pitches. He did that in Arizona.
Well, we saw Mats on Sunday, Gary, go 110. If you pitch him once a week, I guess you can go 110, 115.
I guess, but isn't the whole point to limit their pitches?
I mean, it's from a different place. I don't know. I think that to get them through the year, they're doing exactly the right thing.
Baxter just got a piece. No, you're absolutely right, and I understand if you're going to have the innings limits that they have, you have to limit their starts. But from a wear and tear standpoint, isn't the number of pitches just as important as the number of innings?
Unless you have a long-range plan.
Up the middle, a base hit for Baxter, leading off in the 6th inning. Let's check in with the studio for a game break. Michelle Yu is there, brought to you by Honda. So he had a so-so day on the mound and an extraordinary day with the bat.
He did. He said that his grandmother told him he was going to hit a home run today. And he did it.
Nice job, Grandma. Marlins were up 5-4 in the 8th in that game. Chris Denorfia 1 for 2. He singled and popped up. Denorfia's already had a couple of stints on the disabled list this year, so his year has been of fits and starts, but he's been very successful when he's gotten to play. Curveball missed somewhere. 2-0. Let's get their bullpen cranking. Logan Verrett, the right-hander. Alex Torres, the left-hander. Ricky Bonas, fresh off his Ron Darling interview. Keeping tabs.
He was great. He's a great guy. Now, what I was saying, that if you had a long-range plan in a 6-man rotation, get guys to 110, 115, 120 pitches, Gary, pitching once a week. Then when you bring them back at some point in a 5-man rotation, they've done that. They've pitched 110, 115 pitches. Maybe they don't get afraid that at 100, I'm supposed to be out of the ballgame.
Makes sense. Knee-high fastball for a strike to Denorfia, and DeGrom has not had enough of that today. That's normally his stock in trade, that fastball at the knees. Baxter at first and nobody out. And Denorfia floats one foul. Duda's not going to get there.
Again, another nasty pitch down and in on Denorfia. He fouls it off. Fouled off 3 or 4 pitches this last at bat. His Cubs hitters are just wearing DeGrom down. See that big gasp for breath by DeGrom.
And that's part of the Cubs' DNA this year. They see the most pitches of any team in the National League. They strike out a lot, in fact, more than any other team in the league, but they have the 2nd most walks. This one's out to right. Granderson has it lined up. Denorfia retired. Baxter back to first, 1 away. And now it's Jonathan Herrera. Have we gotten a look at Herrera's socks today, by the way?
I don't know if we have. He's got an interesting look working today. It's a little Lenny Randall mixed in with some Tony Phillips. The high spikes with the low pants, but not all the way down, showing a little blue.
You know, they talk about hitters getting caught in between. I think his socks got caught in between.
Well, in today's game, where people either have them all the way up or all the way down, like bell bottoms over their shoes. You never see that look anymore.
Maybe he's just trying to establish his own brand.
There you go.
Herrera had a squeeze bunt to drive in a run in the second.
I mean, when you watch some of the, not really the 60s, because they had the woolen uniforms then, so they still were baggy. Guys wearing baggier today, but in our time, in the 80s, I mean, the uniforms don't even, they look the equivalent of the Celtics when they had the real high shorts. That's what it looks like in the way the 80s guys wore the uniforms.
To me, it's all about Frank Robinson. A stripe on either side, white in the middle.
Beautiful, right?
The stirrups where you can't see the tops of the stirrups. Guys used to put the extenders on there.
That's right.
And guys started wearing the soccer socks and everything changed. I don't think anybody wears the long stirrups anymore. You see guys like Sean Gilmartin wears the stirrups, but those are the what Keith calls the ankle chokers. Nobody's got that 70s look going anymore.
Surprised someone hasn't done it, right? Like you said about branding.
I figure somebody go with the retro look, right?
Oh, I got some looks from, like when I was a schoolboy, 16, 15, 14. The where I wore a uniform. Oh, it's just awful. Just awful. And you thought you were styling. You thought you had it going on.
Hey, even those hairstyles in the 70s, we thought we were styling.
That's right.
Boy, were we wrong. Meanwhile, DeGrom up to 112 pitches. Noah Syndergaard is going to get the start against Clayton Kershaw tomorrow night. DeGrom's career high is 122 pitches. He did that last May. He's already at his season high now. Trying to put away Herrera with the pitcher Arrieta on deck. And he misses inside, 2-2. The Cubs have had their share of long turns at bat today, which have run up Jake's pitch count. Baxter at first and 1 out. 7th pitch of the at bat to Herrera, and it misses badly, and now a full count. DeGrom's walked 2. He struck out only 2. He's given up 2 runs, 1 of them earned on 6 hits. If this is his bad day, it's a pretty good bad day, but he certainly has not been at his sharpest. 3-2. See if Baxter runs. He does. And Herrera hits one well to right field, chasing Granderson way back to the warning track, and Granderson can't make the catch, and it's over the fence for a home run. I think Granderson might have knocked it over the wall. Herrera with a 2-run homer, his first home run of the season, and the Cubs now have a 4-1 lead. Granderson making the leap right at the fence. The glove, the ball, and the top of the wall all came together. I'm not sure whether he touched it or not.
Well, the ball fooled him the entire way. What made it look like he touched the ball is that you can see that mesh that's in front of the relief pitchers. You can see the ball come on the other side. It hit right off the back end of that top of that wall there and just skidded into home run territory.
That's going to be all for Jacob DeGrom. So Herrera has had a huge day. He always seems to against the Mets. He hits his first home run of the season. The Cubs now have a 4-1 lead. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon. Not a happy Jacob DeGrom. Logan Ferret on relief for New York, facing the pitcher Jake Arrieta.
He's been a welcome find after pitching 7 2/3 in a start for AAA. He's went in that bullpen. This is his 5th appearance. 6 2/3, 6 strikeouts, only a run.
Slowly hit, and Arrieta not running hard. Flores throws him out. Well, this was not the wisest thing that Jake's ever done, using his pitching hand to hit the Gatorade container.
I guess he used the glove as a shield. I can say I never ever did that. I just never ever. I mean, I've thrown stuff down once you get in the runway, and you know, you go a little explosive down there, but
maybe splinter a bat or something.
Yeah, well, amongst other things, but I was told at an early age that was not acceptable.
115 pitches for Jake today. 5 1/3 innings, 4 runs, 3 earned, 7 hits, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, 1 home run. The ERA goes up from 2.15 to 2.30, and in a very small sample, the Cubs have been his kryptonite.
They really have.
I mean, he had that poor start at Wrigley Field and then ran off 8 tremendous starts in a row, and then he runs into the Cubs again, and he has a not so great day.
And you can't figure it out because I think it was a combination that he didn't have his great stuff today, but how can you factor in that Jonathan Herrera at some point is going to take you deep for a 2-run home run?
Since the last start against the Cubs, he had given up only 1 home run to Freddie Freeman. And Jonathan Herrera, who had hit one all year, takes him deep. The 9th home run of Herrera's career. Now Russell strikes out, so Verrett comes in and gets a couple of quick outs. But the Cubs get 2 runs with 1 swing. Herrera, who bunted for a run earlier, hits a 2-run homer. And the Cubs lead 4-1 in the 6th. Top of the batting order for the Mets in the home 6th. Curtis Granderson has driven in the only Met run in this series. Double to right his last time up. 1 for 2 in this game. Jake Arrieta now with a 3-run lead to work with, looking for his 8th win of the year. People's United Bank starting pitchers. An off day for Jacob deGrom. A typical day for Jake Arrieta. Good curveball by Arrieta, 1-2. Well, the Mets have an off day next Thursday. So, but none before that. So that means that DeGrom gets the last game in San Francisco Wednesday.
Yes.
Which is a day game. Become the day warrior.
Happens like that.
2-2 to Granderson, and he grips one, and it's another line drive caught by Addison Russell, who's had an afternoon doing that. Well, on the roof out in right center field, they've got the hydroponics going on.
Very nice. The garden infused by water.
Is that the descendant of Joe Pignatano's tomato plants in the Shea Stadium bullpen?
Yeah, that's where it's come now. I don't know what they're growing there, though.
Now it's hydroponics on the roof. Siciliani hits a weak ground ball. Another chance for Russell. And there are 2 out.
I mean, we're watching Russell play defense today. We're saying, boy, what a good defensive player he is. Do you know that when we were in Chicago, they were teaching him how to turn 2 for the first time from second base? A month ago, or 2 months ago, sorry.
Well, he's obviously a great athlete, and you know, lots of shortstops have made the transition to playing second base, and it takes a little while, but if you can play short, you can usually play second. Daniel Murphy 1 for 2 today, singled back in the first before he got picked off and grounded out in the fourth. Mets have had 4 hits today. They had 7 last night and 3 in the opening game of the series.
Cutter in, change up away. Probably see breaking ball here in the dirt. And just a great assortment of pitches by Arrieta. Control of all of them.
Oh, 2 to Murphy, and the curveball away.
Kids have lots of goodies going.
See you guys.
Lots of food. Oh, you have to leave at a certain time?
Make sure you come back. Time to get on the bus. Head back for the end of the camp day. It's 3 o'clock.
That's funny.
2-2. Ground ball for Russell. He gets all 3 chances in the inning and handles them flawlessly. And Jake Arrieta has himself a 3-run lead after 6. Ben's Tri-State dealers. Visit them on the web at searchmercedes.com. How did he stay on the bag? Seventh inning, Mets down 4-1. Trying to avoid getting swept in the season series by the Cubs, who've beaten them 8 straight times going back to last year. Fourth time around the batting order, Starlin Castro fouls off the first offering from Logan Verrett, who came in to get a couple of outs in the 6th. Castro 2 for 3, had an infield hit, scored a run in the 5th. That put the Cubs in front, an unearned run. Jacob deGrom gave up 4 runs overall, 3 earned in 5 1/3. Logan Verrett has had himself quite a whirlwind this year. He was left off the Mets' 40-man roster in the offseason. Claimed by the Baltimore Orioles in the Rule 5 draft. Spent spring training with Baltimore. Fly ball center field. Siciliani got a late break going back, but he finds it and makes the catch in a way. The Orioles couldn't keep him on their major league rosters, so they had to put him through waivers, and he was claimed by Texas and began the year with the Rangers. Made 4 relief outings for them, and remember, he had never been a reliever before. He was a starter throughout his minor league career. The Rangers then decided they couldn't keep him on the major league roster, and he wound up back with the Mets. Went to Vegas, went back to being a starter, and then they moved him back to the bullpen again. So this is the first real experience he's ever had pitching in relief, and he's done awfully well with it.
Well, he's got the pitches to do it. He throws hard enough, and he throws strikes with his fastball. His breaking ball is kind of a wipeout slider. It's good. It's change-up work in progress. It's good sometimes, 50-50 kind of pitch.
Slowly hit, hugs the line, and goes foul. Rizzo kept running just in case after dodging Verrett.
But when you watch a young guy come up from the minor leagues, and maybe that little stop in Texas helped him. Nice timing with that. Maybe that little stop in Texas helped him. Just using the big leagues for a short time, and he came back here with the Mets, and he's been great.
I can't even imagine what the upheaval must be like, though. You spend your whole career in an organization. You expect to get to the big leagues with them. You go to spring training with a different team, an entirely new environment, and then you end up with another team to start the season before finally coming back home and making your big league your eventual debut with the team that you started out with. It's a very, very strange season for a guy.
Well,
it's not quite Chris Schwinden weird,
right.
but weird nonetheless.
Schwinden was DFA'd and
like 5 times in 6 weeks. Went through 4 different organizations.
I think the thing I always look for when guys come up from the minor leagues, are they afraid? Are they afraid to throw strikes? Are they aggressive? That's what you want to see, that there's no fear that their stuff doesn't play here at this level. And Verrett has shown that so far. Although his glove is a funny color. Isn't his glove the color of, remember when you were a kid and you would get that glove that was plastic and it had that certain kind of color that didn't look like leather? It looked like that. There's the changeup.
Listen to you doing color analysis.
What was I doing that? What?
Color analysis.
Oh, color analysis. Can't do either. That's the problem.
7th pitch coming to Rizzo, and he strikes him out. Nicely done by Verrett. Got him with the slider for his 2nd strikeout.
And this is the pitch we said that plays. That little slider goes straight down. Got a couple different ways he throws it. When he throws against the righty, you put a little more tilt on it that it works away from the right-handers. So a man in his chapeau at the game. You don't see hats like that at the ball game anymore.
Is it Fedora Day again?
Or maybe it is.
Here's Miguel Montero, 1 for 3 today. So Verrett has come in and retired 4 in a row. Here's some more hats. Not a sunny day, so the hat not necessarily required for sunscreening purposes, or for fashion. Torres moves over to get it. Barrett's got himself a 1-2-3 top of the 7th. He's retired 5 in a row. 7th inning stretch time. It's 4-1 Chicago. First of 3 against the first place Dodgers. Our coverage begins at 9 o'clock tomorrow night right here on SNY, and a tough road to hoe for the Mets, facing Kershaw and Greinke the first 2 games. They'll have Syndergaard and Harvey, and then Steven Matz makes his second appearance, maybe against Mike Bolsinger if he's feeling better. He's been under the weather. But those are the pitching matchups, the city probables for the series at Dodger Stadium. For more on the Dodgers, let's check in with Steve Gelb. Steve?
Well, Gary, you were talking a little bit about Mike Bolsinger right there, and we've heard John Neese's name linked with the Dodgers because the Dodgers badly need help at the back end of that rotation between Bolsinger and Carlos Frias. The 2 of them the last month or so have really been frying the bullpen for the Dodgers. For Bolsinger, 5 of the last 6 starts, he hasn't gotten out of the 6th inning. The last 4 starts can be said the same thing for Frias. So Andrew Friedman has targeted back end of the rotation help for the Dodgers as they move forward here before the trade deadline. On the offensive side of things, Don Mattingly 6 games ago moved Howie Kendrick up to the 2 spot. He has been on fire from that position, hitting over 500. And this may be oversimplifying things a little bit, but when Howie Kendrick goes, so go the Dodgers. 22-2 this year when Kendrick drives in a run. Guys,
hitting .369 with runners in scoring position. Of course, it also helped that the Dodgers lead the National League in home runs, led by their rookie sensation Jock Peterson, who has 20 home runs, hitting mostly leadoff for the Dodgers. But they've got a lot of guys hitting. Peterson, Yasiel Puig's been hitting since he came back. The huge surprise is Justin Turner, who's just had a fantastic year for LA. He was good last year, but now getting a chance to play almost every day, and Turner's just having a marvelous season. 37
RBIs, Justin Turner. Just, it's interesting. We've talked about it before. He had he's developed his offensive game as he's gone along, and he's gotten better to the point now that he has become a real tough out.
Lucas Duda leading off the home 7th. I mean, the numbers for Turner: .314 batting average, .388 on base, .565 slugging. That's among the top sluggers in baseball. Not what you expected from what the Mets considered to be a utility infielder.
Yeah. Well, he was given a chance here to work on his game because of the injuries to Wright at times and others, and give him more chance to play in LA.
Well, on a team of stars with guys like Adrian Gonzalez and the like, Turner has been a bright light, and what that's enabled as Duda goes down looking, and his woes continue. 6 strikeouts for Arrieta. What that's enabled the Dodgers to do is to survive the invisible production from Jimmy Rollins. I mean, Rollins hasn't hit a lick, but he's playing every day, playing a solid enough shortstop, and it doesn't seem to matter.
Kendrick has been good. Turner, and Agon is Agon. Gonzalez.
And Peterson's a phenomenon.
Yeah, and, you know, Puig feels like it. He can be one of the best players of the game.
And, you know, Steve was talking about the back end of the rotation. The reason they have problems at the back end is because they lost Hyun-Jin Ryu and Brandon McCarthy for the season in what would have otherwise been a very deep rotation. Brett Anderson's been a good number 3 behind Kershaw and Greinke. But I think there's every chance, as Steve said, that they'll be looking to make a deal for a starter. And of course, they were without Kenley Jansen at the beginning of the year. He had the foot injury, but he's come back and he's as good as ever at the end of the bullpen. 2-1 to Flores. And here's a cautionary note about tomorrow night. Flores drills one down the line, and he's got himself an extra base hit. So Flores cracks an 0 for 16 with a 1-out double.
Well, that's that little breaking ball. It's supposed to be outside. He leaves it over the middle of the plate. And we said middle of the plate in is the power zone for Wilmer Flores.
11th double of the year for Wilmer. So the Mets have their 5th hit against Arrieta. They're still working at a very low pitch count, so no action at all in the Cubs bullpen. Barry Campbell is struck out looking and lined out to second. I was going to say the cautionary note about tomorrow night. Facing Clayton Kershaw. Broken back grounder, and Russell handles it. That's the second out as Flores goes to third. It's the first time in Kershaw's career he's lost 3 straight starts. That's not a good sign for the Mets.
And Kershaw at home.
Here's Johnny Manel with 2 out and a runner at third. Manel singled to center his last time up. 1 for 2 on the day. Manel going after the first pitch curveball, 0-1. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Wise Snacks. Wise and the Mets have teamed up to give fans a chance to win amazing prizes like free Wise Snacks, Mets experiences, and more. Play now at windupandwin.com. Hard cutter by Arrieta, and it's 0-2.
So after giving up that single to Monell in his last at bat, first pitch fastball, he's countered now with a curveball to start, cutter in.
Flores at third with 2 out. And Arrieta takes care of Manel in short order to end the inning. 7 strikeouts for Jake Arrieta. We're through 7 at Citi Field. Cubs 4, Mets 1. Chris Coghlan leads off the 8th inning against Logan Verrett, who's faced 5 batters and retired them all behind Jacob deGrom, who was not himself today. deGrom gave up 4 runs, 3 earned, 7 hits over 5 1/3, and then slugged a water cooler on his way out. Coghlan has walked twice and flied out 0 for 1. Coghlan, Baxter, and Denorfia for the Cubs, who are trying to sweep the season series from the Mets and beat New York for the 9th straight time going back to last year. Mets got swept in a 4-game series in Chicago, with 3 of the defeats coming by 1 run. They've lost 1-0 and 2-0 so far in this series. Verrett struggling with his command behind 3-0. Well, Jose Fernandez got the win in his season debut, coming back from Tommy John surgery. Went 6 innings, hit a home run. Marlins beat the Giants 5-4. Inside, corner, strike, 3-1. It's been a struggle for the Giants lately. All of a sudden, they've fallen on some hard times. Just 4 games over 500 now, and that's ball 4. Walks for the 3rd time.
See, in last night's game, Buster Posey took a foul ball off the mask, took himself out of the game because he said he just did not feel right, and you hate to see that with a guy who's had some concussion-like syndromes in the past.
Came back today, hit a home run.
Yeah, well,
I guess he was okay. There's Mike Baxter, singled and scored a run in the 6th inning, 1 for 3 on the day. Mike's enjoyed being back home in New York. He's had lots of family and friends on hand for all 3 games. It's one out to right field. Granderson should have play. Baxter retired. Back to first goes Coghlan, 1 away. Now Chris Denorfia, who's 1 for 3 this afternoon, singled back in the 2nd. Cubs got a run in the 2nd on a safety squeeze bunt by Jonathan Herrera. The Mets tied it in the 3rd. Doubles by deGrom and Granderson for the Mets' only run in this series. But the Cubs got an unearned run in the 5th, driven in by Anthony Rizzo to go in front. Jonathan Herrera hit a 2-run homer in the 6th, and that was the end of deGrom's day.
So I'm thinking that before the game, the Mets were intimating they were going to make a lot of changes with their lineup, right? But it was Joe Madden who made a lot of changes. Castro, for the first time this year, batting leadoff, got a couple of hits. Jonathan Herrera subbing for Chris Bryant, who had hit a home run off deGrom in his start in Chicago, give him the day off.
Coghlan runs. Manel's throw, short hops, and comes up and knocks Flores in the forehead. And Coghlan has a stolen base. 7th of the year.
Oh, right down the middle. This ball bounced, and Flores, when he catches it, it knocked his hat off as he reaches for the ball and tries to stay with Coghlan.
Fortunately, it was just the hat and not his head.
I think he might have caught a little bit of his forehead, but certainly didn't come up into his face.
Just knocked his sunglasses askew and maybe jammed them into the bridge of his nose. In any event, Coghlan at 2nd with 1 out. Hello. Nice bow. Boxed around by Manel. 1-1 to Denorfia. Hats and other headgear have been the theme today. Hair ribbons. It's like all we need are mid juleps and it would be like the Derby. That's a good stop by Manel on the slider. 2-1.
Well, this seems like a classic example of a guy you were mentioning, Gary, that was a starter, but now he's been in the pen now for just long enough that he's not stretched out again. So this inning is a little tougher for Verrett.
Came in, got a couple of outs in the 6th, pitched a 1-2-3 7th. Now trying to fight his way through the 8th. Back to center field. Siciliani has it lined up. And that's the second out. Let's check in with the studio. Michelle Yu has another game break brought to you by Ford. The Indians sweep that series from Tampa Bay, getting great pitching throughout that series. Well, the Mets are going to not mess around with Jonathan Herrera again. He's already driven in 3 runs today with a safety squeeze and a 2-run homer, and they'll intentionally walk him. Thinking that maybe with Herrera, after the day he's had, maybe that Sox style is going to catch on. Jake Arrieta is going to stay in and bat for himself.
I know who won't change that look, and that'll be Jonathan Herrera.
You know, he's just had a knack against the Mets, going back to his days in Colorado. It's the 4th time in his career he's driven in 3 runs. The last time was in April of 2011, also against the Mets. Ball 4. And now Arrieta will bat with 2 out and 2 on. He's 0 for 3 today. In today's game, if you're a pitcher and you get 4 at bats, you have necessarily had a good day.
That's right. Arrieta just continues to impress. I mean, he's got, you know, when you look at the last 2 pitchers for the Cubs, guy who got signed to a 6-year contract for oodles and oodles of cash, and you had to decide if you just would drop from the moon, which guy had the more dominant stuff, and easily picked Arrieta.
Well, for all the money that they gave John Lester, where would the Cubs be without Arrieta and Jason Hamill?
That's right.
Whom they traded away and then brought back. And he's had another terrific year for Chicago.
Although Lester at some point, you know, he's going to kick it into gear and win 8 or 9 straight. That's how his career has been.
1-2 to Arrieta.
Both he and Cologne had a great night last night.
Well, they both needed it. They were both scuffling. Cologne had his first scoreless effort of the season. It's not enough with his team not scoring at all. Addison Russell would be next. Barrett trying to put away Arrieta. And he does just that with a slider. 3rd strikeout for Logan Barrett, so he goes 2 2/3 in relief without giving up a hit. But the Mets still 3 runs down as they come to bat in the bottom of the 8th. 5th, the Mets play the Dodgers and stay after the game for a special post-game concert featuring Heart. The post-game concert is included in the price of your ticket, and it's all presented by Pepsi. Ann and Nancy Wilson always put on a great show. Purchase tickets online at Mets.com/concerts. Well, the offensive numbers have been hard to look at for this team. 1 run they've scored so far in 27 innings in this series. John Mayberry will pinch hit, leading off in the home 8th, and takes a strike from Jake Arrieta, who's allowed just a run on 5 hits over the first 7. Arrieta really starting to get on a roll now. 2 starts back, he threw a complete game 4-hit shutout against the Twins. Last start, he limited the Cardinals to 1 run and 3 hits over 7 innings. And he's been dominant again today. Curveball hit sharply, but Castro is there to play it. 1 out. I mean, we talked about it last night, that borderline between crediting a pitcher for a well-pitched game and being dominant, and an offense just not producing. And I think this is the game where you teeter on that line, because Arrieta has had a marvelous season. He's got dominant stuff, and the Mets are just not hitting.
Yeah. Well, when you came into this game, you looked at it and you said, well, if you lose the first 2, the toughest pitcher right now. Now Lester's going to probably change the season around, but right now, Arrieta's their best starter.
Ball 1 to Ruben Tejada, who's 0 for 2. Now Arrieta right in the pocket of his prime. It's his 50th career start as a Cub, and he has been a dominant pitcher since arriving in Chicago. That's nubbed foul by Tejada.
So he's over 100 starts now, 113 for his career, I think you were saying. That's about the time that you start churning them out, those good seasons. Because 30 means like that, it's about 3 seasons.
Well, here's how good he's been in Chicago. His whip this year coming into the day, 1.06, which is awfully good. He was better last year. Last year for the full season, he was 0.99. Wasn't quite a full season. He had a late start because he was on the DL, but 25 starts last year. 0.99.
Yeah, he's the one of those guys that you put on the list. If you wanted to make a starting 5 that no one knows about, he'd be on that list. Baseball people know him, but I'm talking about general fans around the game who root for their home team.
Tejada flies one down the line. Baxter right at the sidewall, can't make the catch. Ball, glove, and wall all arrived at the same time.
Did someone from Queens upset the play by the kid from Queens?
I'll say the kid got his glove on the ball?
No, he didn't. He didn't. Looks like he missed it. Tough play for Baxter.
Banged into walls in this ballpark before.
That's right.
Well, that keeps a streak intact for Arrieta. He has not had a single put out from an outfielder today.
Yeah, you're right. Arrieta on the defense has been the Arrieta Addison Russell show.
Tejada 0 for his last 19, 2 for his last 36. And this won't help. And there's the first outfield putout for Arrieta. Meanwhile, he struck out 7 today.
Well, he has a variation of pitches. The changeup he gets Granderson on, the good curveball, overhand, the cutter that breaks away from Flores. Then he'll have a little bigger kind of slider curveball, the one he'll bounce in front of the plate. He does a nice job when he gets ahead of a hitter of putting him away. Able to have the ability to have the command of that curveball where he can bounce it.
Curtis Granderson has driven in the only run for the Mets today. In fact, the only run in this series, a double to right field in the 3rd. That drove home Jacob deGrom, who had doubled earlier in the inning. Rizzo handles it with aplomb. And a 1-2-3 inning for Arrieta in the 8th. On we go to the 9th at Citi Field, 4-1 Chicago. Sheldon Richardson will miss the first 4 games for the Jets. Not good news.
No.
Basketball and golf news as well. Meanwhile, Alex Torres will pitch the 9th inning for the Mets.
Well, really, the base on balls has been the story for Torres this year. That's got to change for him to turn around his year, but to make him more effective.
Well, it's also, you know, a very interesting time for the guys in that bullpen, because 5 days from now, Henry Mejia will be eligible to return for the Mets. And somebody's going to have to go. And certainly Logan Verrett, the way he has thrown over these couple of weeks that he's been up, has shown that he belongs. So we've got guys who are pitching to retain their spot in that bullpen, and Torres is one of those.
Well, a lot of times, Gary, when a right-hander, Mejia, is going to join the ball club, rejoin the ball club, you say to yourself, well, the left-handers are safe. Not true, because Mejia is a crossover guy. He gets lefties and righties out. So
right now the Mets are carrying 2 lefties in their pen. They had 3. Jack Leathersich went down when Matz was activated. So you've got Alex Torres, who's better against righties, and Sean Gilmartin, who's better against righties. It's Travis Wood up in the Cubs bullpen. I have to think Arrieta's going to get the 9th, though. He's at 98 pitches. Arrieta's already got a complete game this year. Shutout 2 starts back against the Twins. But, you know, Gilmartin's kind of protected because he's a Rule 5 guy. And if the Mets were to try to send him down, they would probably lose him. So that puts Alex Torres squarely on the bubble. Russell hits one out to right, and Granderson's there. 1 out. So Russell now 0 for his last 15. Here's Starlin Castro leading off for the first time this season. It's worked well for him. 2 for 4. He scored a run. In the bottom of the 9th, the Mets will have 2, 3, and 4 in the batting order coming up. Siciliani, Murphy, and Duda. 3 left-hand hitters, and that's where they have Travis Wood up in case Arrieta needs help. Justin Grimm talking with the bullpen coach.
Castro just turned 25 in spring training, 900 now and 27 hits.
That's the most hits in the major leagues since he made his debut. But he's had a very underwhelming year this year. Started the day with a .296 on base percentage. Only 13 extra base hits this season and over 300 at bats.
Looks like he likes this leadoff spot, though.
Flores able to pick up the easy grounder and throws out Castro for the 2nd out. So Alex Torres has retired the first 2. I mentioned this earlier. I'm going to mention it again because it is so juicy. If the Cubs win today, it'll be the first time that they have swept a season series of 7 or more games since 1885. Not 1985, 1885 against the Buffalo Bisons when they went 10-0 against the team that featured Hall of Famers Dan Brouthers and Pud Galvin. 1885, 130 years ago. That's the kind of history the Mets are on the verge of making today. They'll be right there with the Buffalo Bisons of 1885. 2-0 to Rizzo.
We've had a lot of strange stats, haven't we, going the Cubs' way? Didn't you mention after the 1-0 loss that hadn't been done since '75 in the Seaver game, right?
1-0 loss to the Cubs. That's right. That was the Joe Wallace game. Got the hit with 2 out in the 9th against Seaver to break up a no-hit bid. And that one head high. Rizzo able to vacate.
Well, you can almost live with it because it was a changeup that just got away. So that's the only reason he was able to get out of the way, because it was 78 miles an hour.
Well, Rizzo gets hit a lot, but that was scary. 78 or 98, it doesn't
right.
matter. It was headed right for his face. Rizzo will swing 3-0 after that. And that should be ball 4, no? Or is it 3-1?
3-1.
You mean there was a strike in there somewhere?
Yes, there was. I would say, though, when Rizzo, when you throw around his head like that, he's going to get into this at bat.
And now he draws the walk. It's 5 walks from Met pitching today. And Alex Torres carrying on a conversation with Laz Diaz, the home plate umpire. I'm not sure what Alex is upset about.
Well, I do have to say that Alex is probably, how many pitchers in baseball? He's got to be one of the last on the list that should ever argue with an umpire about strikes and balls.
By the way, the answer to that question is more than ever.
Yeah.
I mean, really, used to be, when you were pitching, there were 10-man pitching staffs.
Yeah.
Then it went to 11. Now 12 is the standard. And now you have teams that have 13 pitchers. The Mets have 6 starters, 7 relievers.
365, 370, whatever.
More than ever.
You're right.
Montero 1 for 4 today. And he hits one to deep right field. Granderson back to the warning track, looks up, and that's gone. A 2-run homer from Miguel Montero to put the icing on the cake for the Cubs. They now lead it 6-1. 10th of the year for Montero. The Cubs' second 2-run homer of the day.
Well, this one's supposed to be away. It is inner half of the plate, and Montero just teed off on it. Montero, when he first came up with the Diamondbacks, used to spray the ball around the field. He's more of a pull hitter now.
Alex Torres, the 4th home run he's given up this year in 26 innings. Chris Conlon has walked 3 times today, stolen a base, scored a run, otherwise 0 for 1. So the horse just about out of the barn on this one, as the Mets are on the verge of getting swept in a season series.
Well, you knew this was coming, right? You knew that when the Cubs came in town, you're going to be facing teams for the entire month that are playing at about a 550 clip. So you better have your A game or you're going to be in trouble. See, the long delay here has had Madden go to Bazio, the pitching coach, to go to the bullpen, get someone hot.
Slow ground ball. Flores throws out Conklin to end the inning. But the Cubs tack on 2 on Miguel Montero's 2-run homer. We'll see if Arrieta gets the 9th. It's 6-1. Joe Madden opting to pull him at 98 pitches.
Well, since Torres' inning took so long, I think Madden's doing the prudent thing with his star pitcher. Half hour in between that inning there, so taking him out and bringing in Travis Wood, who was a starter earlier in the season.
There is your Mets box score presented by Wise Snacks. Curtis Granderson an RBI double. Jacob deGrom scored the Mets' only run after a double. That's the only run the Mets have scored in 28 innings in this series. Daryl Siciliani will lead off in the 9th against Wood, whose last start came against the Mets. He was in the rotation, but the Mets blew him out on May the 14th, 5 runs in 4 1/3 innings, and after that they moved him to the bullpen.
Including this appearance, 14 out of the bullpen since then.
His last outing, he got hammered in St. Louis, gave up 4 runs in 2 2/3. That was 5 days ago. Siciliani 0 for 3, struck out and grounded out twice. Murphy and Duda to follow, so 3 left-hand hitters. That's why they go to Wood in this spot. And a comebacker for Wood. 1 out. This will be a rarity for the Mets today unless they rally. When the Mets have scored at least 1 run at Citi Field this year, they're 29-6. Think about that.
Yeah.
They've only had 13 losses at home this year, 29-13, and 7 of those 13 losses have been shutouts. So when they've scored at least a run, 29-6, soon to be 29-7. They pop up. Coghlan comes in to call, and that's the 2nd out.
Well, our job here is sometimes to have some answers moving forward as the team gets on that big jet airliner to Los Angeles, but I have none. I have none for you.
Lucas Duda, the final hope for New York. 0 for 2 and a hit by pitch today. Lucas now 7 for his last 51. Goes after the high fastball from Wood, 0-1. Well, Arrieta not going for the complete game leaves Chris Heston as still the only pitcher to throw a complete game against the Mets this year. Of course, he had a reason to finish.
No.
Arrieta, by the way, gets his ERA down to 2.80. Certainly will deserve all-star consideration. And Duda strikes out, and this miserable series for the Mets comes to an end. They're held to just 1 run in 29 innings as the Cubs sweep the season series, go 7-0 against the Mets this year. Mets have lost 9 straight to the Cubs going back to last season, as Jacob deGrom has not his best day, and with the Mets still struggling to generate any offense, easy for the Cubs and Jake Arrieta today, 6-1.
Well, with 2 could-be all-star starting pitchers pitching today, Jake Arrieta up-pitched Jacob deGrom, only got into the 6th. Big home run in the 6th inning by Jonathan Herrera that made it 4-1. Add-on home run by Montero late off Alex Torres. And the Mets lose 3 in a row here to Cubs. All 7, to the Cubs this year.
So Joe Madden brings in a magician and pulls 3 wins out of his hat here at Citi Field. Here's your game summary. Jake Arrieta gets his 8th win with 8 stellar innings. Jonathan Herrera drives in 3 with a safety squeeze and a 2-run homer. And the Cubs sweep the season series from the Mets, who are back to 500 for the year. More from Flushing in a moment.